Hello and welcome to my channel Malavika's Magic. Today I'll be sharing with you my views on analyzing a case study. So let us first understand the roadmap of my presentation today. So first, I will help you to diagnose a problem. Second, I will help you to identify key issues. Third, I will help you to examine different possibilities. And fourth, I will help you to suggest a solution. So let us first understand what are the 5 steps involved in analyzing a case study. The first step is identifying important facts. The second is identifying key issue related to the case study. The third is specifying alternative course of action. The fourth is evaluating each course of action. And the fifth is recommending the best course of action. So let us understand all these 5 steps in greater detail with the help of an example. So the first step is identifying important facts. Now I have this case study for you. So the case study is about a boy, a young man, Anil, who has come to Mukherjee Nagar to meet his close friend Parul, who is preparing for civil services. He had himself got a 1 year of intense training at Infosys. Anil is wearing squeaky clean white shirt and a costly pant and shoes. Instead of going to a posh hotel, out of nostalgia, Anil visits a roadside tea shop to have a cup of tea with his friend who is comfortable with it. A 10-year-old boy who was cleaning dishes until their arrival brings both of them 2 glasses of tea on his master's order. Anil, who is on a phone call, unaware of the boy standing behind him, accidentally touches the plate carrying tea glasses. Hot tea spills all over his shirt and glasses are broken into pieces on the ground. The owner of the shop, seeing this, beats the boy to a pulp. Now, from this case study, we understand that the behavior of the owner or the action of the owner is not morally right. It's in fact, it does not abide to the ethical rules or does not go as per the ethical rules. So therefore, we need to provide some other alternatives to the owner so that he can have a better understanding of how to deal with this particular situation. So when we do that, we need to go through certain important steps before we give some other alternative to the owner. So the first step is to identify how many characters are there in the case study. So the characters are Anil, Parul, the 10-year-old boy, and the owner. These are the 4 characters in the story. Then we need to find out the background of these characters. So first we have the background of Anil, who is trained at Infosys. His close friend is Parul, and his current place of stay is Mukherjee Nagar. And the other information of the other characters, background information, Parul's information is that he is preparing for civil service and he is a resident of Mukherjee Nagar. So Anil has gone to Mukherjee Nagar in order to meet Parul, in order to visit Parul, his close friend. And the 10-year-old boy, his background information is that from his age only we can make out that he is a young boy who is supposed to go to school and complete his studies. But the fact that he is working in the tea shop, cleaning dishes and looking after the customers, that indicates that he is a very poor boy, and therefore he's trying to earn his money, earn a living, or trying to earn money in order to, maybe feed his elderly parents or maybe feed his parents who might be not in a position to earn money. So about the owner, we know that he has opened up this tea shop as his business, and he's an upcoming businessman and he's trying to enhance his business or trying to do well in his business, and therefore he's looking out for more customers, who come to his tea shop. So after collecting this background information, now it is necessary that we collect some information related to the description of these characters. So from the case study, we get a description of Anil that he wears a clean white shirt and he has costly pants and shoes. Now from this description, we can understand that Anil, belongs to a well-to-do family, and of course he is quite rich, and this is what we understand from Anil. And he is all obviously he can go to a posh hotel, to have his food or to have a cup of tea. Now, let us consider the description of Parul. We do not have any direct description of Parul, but then the point that is mentioned in the case study, that he's not comfortable, he's more comfortable in having tea in the roadside tea shop rather than in the posh hotel. That itself indicates that Parul does not belong to a well-to-do family, is not rich, and so therefore he prefers to have tea in the roadside tea shop. About the 10-year-old boy, we've already said that considering his age and considering that he's working in that tea shop, that itself indicates that he is poor, and therefore that is the information that we have about the 10-year-old boy. The owner of the shop, he is an upcoming businessman, is trying his very hard to enhance his business. That is what we can understand from the case study. Now, having got the description of the characters, now we need to go to the important facts that we can collect from the case study. So, the information that we have collected from the case study is Anil visits a roadside tea shop. He is offered tea by the 10-year-old boy. He is busy with a phone call, so therefore he accidentally spills the plate carrying the tea glasses. Hot tea spills over his shirt. Tea glasses are broken. The shop owner beats the boy. These are the factual information about the case study. Now, let us try to find out, what could be the important, or rather, what could be the key issue of this case study. Now, from this case study, we understand that the owner of the roadside tea shop is annoyed with his employee, a 10-year-old boy, for spilling tea on the customer. Owner is afraid that he might lose his customer, and therefore he expresses his anger over his employee. And moreover, the owner, tries to get some kind of sympathy from the customer, or that some kind of assurance from the customer that he's going to return to his tea shop once again. So this is the key issue in the case study. Now let us go and find out what could be the different alternatives that we can offer to the owner, or we can suggest to the owner. Now, the first alternative that I can suggest to the owner is that he should apologize to Anil and immediately clear the mess. The second alternative is that he can offer to clean Anil's shirt. Then the third alternative is he can order for another cup of tea. The fourth is he can ask the 10-year-old boy to be more careful and observant. So these are the four alternate course of action that I can suggest to the owner at the particular moment. Now let us try and evaluate these options. So the first option, when we are trying to evaluate, we have to look at it from all perspectives, from the business perspectives, from the being empathetic to the human being perspective, and so on. So if the owner apologized to Anil, so what he is doing, his first step is he is trying to give more importance to the needs of the customers. He's trying to give more importance to the fact that the customer is at discomfort. So he is trying to address to the discomfort of the customer, and he's also trying to express his concern about the customer. So in this way, the owner is giving importance to the customer's needs, and at the same time is giving priority to his business, because for his business he wants customers, and therefore he has to give utmost importance to his customers rather than to anything else. And he's being very very polite and humble towards his customer by apologizing to him, even though he knows that it is Anil was responsible for the accident. So therefore Anil will be impressed by the owner, and Anil will also respect the owner for dealing with the situation in this manner. And Anil will definitely not regret coming to the tea shop, and he will also be he will be very positive about visiting the tea shop again. And then the owner is also trying to being very empathetic towards Anil's situation, and therefore he tries to clear the mess immediately, rather than keep the mess lingering on for a longer time. Then the second option, when we analyze the second option, that the owner offers to clean Anil's shirt. Now, in this particular situation, there could be two perspectives over here. The first perspective could be that Anil would be really grateful to the owner for offering to clean his shirt, and he would again be very respectful towards the owner for showing this kind of a gesture. But then at the same time, there could be another perspective that Anil could be very doubtful about the owner's intention. Anil could start thinking that maybe the owner is trying to show concern, that is not a genuine concern, but a concern that he wants to just show because he wants to retain the customer. And so therefore Anil might be misled by the behavior of the owner, and therefore he might decide not to come back to the tea shop again. And he might just ignore what the owner had said, and he might just walk out from the place. So these are two different perspectives that can happen, because actually practically it is not possible for the owner to clean Anil's shirt, because considering the shop that he has opened up, it is near the roadside, and it must be not a very big shop. So therefore it is not possible for the owner to take Anil's shirt and clean his shirt, so that like possibility may not be there, or that like space may not be there. So therefore Anil could start doubting the owner's intention, or start doubting the gesture of the owner, and could even consider that the owner's gesture, maybe it's just a uh, it's just a makeup of the entire thing. And so therefore Anil might not like the gesture of the owner. So I would suggest that this particular course of action is not practically possible. Then the third option is he can order for another cup of tea. In this particular action, I feel that this will be absolutely a negative impact. It will have a negative impact on the customer, as the customer will start thinking that that the owner is giving more importance to his business, or rather he's giving more importance to the cup of tea that was spilled, and where the glasses were broken, rather than giving more importance to the discomfort that Anil is going on at the moment, because hot tea is spilled all over his shirt. So he's definitely going through some kind of discomfort. So therefore, this gesture of the owner can be very misleading, and of course it does not give priority to the customer needs. So therefore the owner might lose the customer in the process, rather than gaining sympathy from the customer, rather than getting the assurance from the customer that the customer will return back to his shop again. The owner might get a negative response from the customer. And the fourth option is he can ask the 10-year-old boy to be more careful and observant. Okay, this is also a good option, because he's knowing that Anil is responsible for the accident. He's not trying to blame anybody. He's just asking directing his employee to be more careful and observant, so that such accidents do not occur in future. And at the same time, he's also trying to indicate to Anil that the mishap that has happened, he's not very happy with it. And Anil, on his turn, might tell him that he was responsible for the accident. So Anil would be very clear about it, that the 10-year-old boy was not responsible for the accident. So that the owner does not get angry with his employee afterwards. So considering all this, for this course of action, I can say that apart from the third option, the other three options are quite, like acceptable, and they're quite acceptable in the sense, because you're giving more importance to the customer, you're being more empathetic towards the customer. You are also trying to, maintain decorum in front of the public. You're not trying to create an entire scene in front of the public. So all this, considering all these factors, I think the for number one, the first option, the second option, and the fourth option, they are quite acceptable. But as I said earlier, in the 5 steps of analyzing a case study, we need to also recommend the best solution. So now the next step is recommending the best solution. I would recommend the first option as the best solution in this scenario, in this particular case study. And now in this particular case study, we also understand that when we are in such a situation, and how we should behave in this particular situation, or we need to reflect upon our own actions. We need to reflect upon our own behavior when we are dealing with people, when we are trying to build relationship with people. So this case study is a learning process for all of us, not only from the business perspective, but also at the personal level. When we communicate with people, when we are surrounded with people, when we are having cordial relations with people, and at the same time we could have an informed, very formal relation with people. So we need to keep all the situation in our mind, and we need to give a strong reflective reflection on all these aspects, so that we tend to give importance to being empathetic to the customer, being empathetic to the other person, to human beings, and understanding the situation, and then saying things or doing things that would not hurt their feelings and so on. So having said this, I hope you have understood how to analyze a case study. I thank all of you for your patient listening. I would also like to tell you that please look out for more videos like this on how to analyze a case study. Thank you.